What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is healthy and well. Now, I was actually scrolling through my YouTube once again and just happened to come across this video. Now, we are only 5 months late. I mean, isn't that too bad? We're only 5 months late. But this is a big coincidence considering the video I actually posted today. So today I'll be reacting to, has Mark Carney cracked the Trump playbook? Let's go ahead and react to this video. Once again, this was not recommended. I seen this on the recommended feed. And we actually posted, well, I posted a video today. And it was actually a one-on-one press conference. You know, of course, they had the press out there. But it was a one-on-one press conference. And Mark Carney basically explained how he pretty much figured out Donald Trump. You know, behind closed doors, he's not the same person. He doesn't make those crazy statements. He doesn't cut you off. He doesn't really happen to lie and make those, you know how he be making those false behind statements? You don't be throwing those out there. No threats or nothing. You know what I'm saying? He's a respectable guy and an understanding person behind doors, is what Carney was basically saying. And it really surprised me, you know? And it's like, so he really just be picking these arguments and doing this and that for the media for out there. But like when they get behind closed doors, it's not really the same vibe. Like they are literally hearing each other out and actually trying to work with each other. So I don't understand. I don't know. Let's jump right into this video. Has Mark Carney cracked the Trump playbook, man? I feel like he has. And in that video, when he was basically explaining Trump's ins and outs, I was like, yeah, this man, he knows him better than the back of his own hand. Like, he has this man literally all figured out. Which is a shame because Trump, he'll never be able to figure out Mark Carney. He's one of those smart guys. He's like, I like how he plays out the situations. Rather than getting mad on the scene and flashing out like how Trump does, getting back at him or making threats or saying stuff about the country, he keeps it real cool, real mellow, real respectful, you know? He doesn't bash. He just tries to like, he's on like a defensive mode, basically. He's just trying to go around it. He's playing the situations smart because Trump's already amped up. So Carney's basically the guy to like, okay, I see he's already mad, so we're definitely not going to be able to make a deal right now. Let me just try to be on his good side and play it out and not get mad, this and that. Let him talk and everything and try to understand what he's saying. That way he kind of like tones it down a little bit. You know, he brings it down. And he's less aggressive. That way we could get more on his good side and try to get our points across. You know what I'm saying? He's just always trying to benefit for the country, bro. It's never his ego or nothing involved, and it really impresses me, seriously, because Trump be saying some wild, wicked things, and I be like, how did you not leave the podium and not want to get it with him? You know what I'm saying? Like, all right.
Everybody, it's an honor to have the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, who I have made very popular. He's an extremely popular...
Like, what are we doing? This is what I'm saying. And this is what I was going to say in the beginning of the video. Why I said, like, why is he putting on an act for the public? I feel like, is it like a publicity thing for the media? Knowing that Americans, bro, this is probably the only, like, okay. This is probably the only time where Americans are really tuned in to the news and the media on a daily. You know, not because some traumatizing, you know, catastrophic event happened or took place, and now everybody want to be watching the news because, you know, they hear it on the radio or people telling them or this and that. No. I'm talking about tuning in every day, like staying up to date. Is it because Trump is entertaining them? He's entertaining them. Is this what it's all about? Let me know in the comments what y'all think. You know, just to keep people in tune at least. Just to keep people in tune at least with what's going on. Because why would the president want to be going at it with Mark Carney, PM of Canada? Why would he want to go at it with him knowing that the Americans are not tuning in? What's the point? You know, I guess we got to be tuned in. We got to hear him out. We got to listen, huh? So that's why he going to say such things. Because if not, do you think if they were actually making good deals and everything and they were on each other's side, do you think we're actually like, well, I feel like I would actually. Considering the great relationship we had, I feel like I actually would. But I just been seeing so much stuff being covered on YouTube from like an American basis of like covering stuff like this. And I'm like, wait a minute. Really? And it's good though. It's good. I'm not bashing it. I'm saying like, yo, it's really good though, because it's waking people up and people are actually seeing him for his true colors, since you want people to watch. Hey, okay. And they're actually turning away, and most of them are moving out. Took a turn, didn't it? I know probably people was probably like, Strac, where you going with this? Yep. And Americans are moving out. It's like, oh no. I read the comments. I was reading comments today, and somebody was like, Strac, sometimes I wonder like what's going on in your head.
Mark Carney, who I have made very popular. He's an extremely popular prime minister.
Okay, here we go. Trump-Carney round 2, their second Oval Office meeting in a room known as much for its bloodshed as for its bridge building.
You're not winning. You're not winning this. You're in no position to dictate.
This is when he was like, you are possibly talking about What is this?
You're gambling with World War III.
No.
Oh, this was the clip, bro. Oh my gosh, bro. That was like one of the funniest things when I heard that.
You're in no position to dictate. You're gambling with World War III.
Now, if you were looking for any real substance to come out of this meeting between Carney and Trump, let me stop you right there. There was none. No big announcements, no real policy discussions, mainly just performance. But that's something Mark Carney appears to understand.
Oh,
and Mark,
see?
it's an honor to have you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. If I may.
If I may, we'll hear those words again, because showing deference is chapter 1 of the Carney Playbook to dealing with Trump. From there, it's about disarming and de-escalating, then maintaining discipline while defending only when necessary.
Before a major event like this, every sort of word is carefully chosen and thought about. Mark Carney has to pick and choose his moments, when to push back, when to speak up.
Facts. Very strategic, very intelligent, very intellectual, very wise.
Much,
I like
President.
how he's moving, bro.
You kindly hosted me and some of my colleagues a few months ago, and I said at the time, you are a transformative president.
If you're going to speak to Donald Trump, world leaders.
You see nah. I understand. It's all manipulation tactic. You gotta get on his good side. I don't even think I would have stooped that low, Carney. I'm gonna keep it. I don't know. No. I understand. You gotta get on his good side, though, bro. Damn, it'd hurt. This is what I'm talking about. How mature he is. Cause boy, would it hurt my ego to. But like lately, I've been like, for the past few years, I've really been learning like, hey, wise man play fool, but a fool can't play wise. And I just been living by that, you know? So I probably would do something like this nowadays. But before, when I was young and dumb, I probably would have been like going off. Or would you say such as like, yeah, bro, it wouldn't have been good. It wouldn't have been good. I respect Mark Carney a lot, bro. Like, it would hurt my ego. Now, like, bro, you done disrespected the country and said, you done try to make us a state? You didn't try to make us a state. You said, oh no, it'll happen. When I told you it'll never happen in history. And you talk about, well, don't ever say never. Very intelligent guy, bro.
You kindly hosted me and some of my colleagues a few months ago, and I said at the time, you are a transformative president.
If you're going to speak to Donald Trump, world leaders have learned that it's helpful to do two things immediately. The first is to say thank you, ideally both to him personally, then to the room publicly.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. Thank you. No, thank you. I want to thank Mr. President for his hospitality.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can I say thank you for your hospitality, for your leadership?
Which maybe is just called being polite. But then Mark Carney has a way of almost asking for permission. This, if I may, way of beginning a sentence. He'll do this again a bit later in the meeting.
In many cases, it's much better and easier, but
yeah, if I may.
Very polite way to cut someone off. If I may. Very polite way. Instead of just cutting them off and, barging in. That'll set him off. And then Trump might be trying to talk over him, And we don't got time for that, man. We don't want to hear two people talking over each other.
This, if I may, way of beginning a sentence. He'll do this again a bit later in the meeting.
In many cases, it's much better and easier. But
yeah, and if I may, let's be clear about the relationship as it stands right now.
And this followed up with praise. Praise early, praise often.
And I said at the time, you are a transformative president. And since then, the transformation in the economy, unprecedented commitments of NATO partners to defense spending, peace from India, Pakistan through to Azerbaijan, Armenia, disabling Iran as a force of terror.
What this all adds up
You gotta
to
give him his
is a very
flowers,
flattering show of
flatter him.
deference, echoing back to Trump the set of accomplishments that maybe mean the most to him, certainly the thing that he feels makes him worthy of a Nobel Peace Prize.
we've solved 7 wars, wars that were unsolvable. I ended 7 wars. I have ended 7 unendable wars. They said they were unendable.
He's trying to butter him up a little bit. He's trying to use some
Who's
flattery to try and build a rapport with the president in the hopes that that might be the way that we get a positive deal for Canada and the economy.
And this deference extends to those moments, which, in a way, I've come to think of as Trump's highest form of praise, when he makes a good-natured but still somewhat cutting joke at your expense.
I'm running out of time, but this is, in many respects, the most important.
What merger created of Canada and the United States.
That wasn't where I was going.
If you think back to the beginning of the year when Trump would make these 51st state sort of comments.
Look, what I'd like to see, Canada become our 51st state.
They were aggressive. There was a harsh undertone. That wasn't what we were hearing today.
It's like an inside joke between the two of them. You know, he kind of gave him a slap on the arm. There was sort of a warm exchange between the two of them when he used that quip during Carney's remarks.
For the first time in decades, hundreds of years, thousands of years, this prospect of peace that you've made possible, Canada stands foursquare behind those efforts, and we'll do whatever we can to support them.
Look at that stability right there. We'll do whatever we can.
So back to this notion of Carney almost feeling like he ought to ask permission to speak. In the entire 30-plus minute news conference.
Oh, remember we reacted to this? Yo, he only got to speak one time, and nobody from Mark Carney's side representing him got the chance to speak. Donald Trump, yap away, and dude right here got the chance to speak on his behalf. Representing Donald Trump's side. And that was it. And then back to Trump. I'm like, yo, everybody keep asking Trump questions as always. Trump answering, you know. Didn't want to let him speak. The only time Mark Carney gets to speak during these type of press conferences is when Trump hands it off to him. Like, if you guys may, you know, you want to ask Carney some questions that, you know, or Carney, would you like to, you know, say something? You know what I'm saying? Because he gets uncomfortable at a certain point. But this was like a straight up overrule. Like how they was trying to just, yeah, that's what it felt like. They was trying to overrule. Like,
Carney is only asked, in the entire 30-plus minute news conference, Carney is only asked one direct question by a reporter. And even that was only because Trump made it so.
See?
A question for the
got to hand it off. A question, he always got to hand it off to him when it comes to these press conferences. Like, y'all people in the press really be pissing me off. Nah, straight up. Y'all be pissing me off. Y'all be having all these questions for Trump. No questions for Carney. Like, it show you whose side they on. And as a press, you're not supposed to be, you know, biased. You keep on asking Trump questions. Like, y'all, I told you about that meat riding. Stop meat riding. You know? It doesn't get you far. My goodness. Look, Carney just waiting.
A question for the president.
And what came was a question worded to provoke.
Mr. Prime Minister, I'd like to know how come the UK and the European Union have succeeded to sign deals and bring the tariffs down, and Canada still hasn't been able to do the same?
And there are many ways to take.
What do you mean? What type of question? Was you not following nothing? Bro, you wasn't following none of this when it was going on? I mean, where was you? You attend these press conferences, these events. You literally have the chance to be in a room with them, ask them questions and stuff. You don't study this at night? What are you talking about? Obviously, Trump is targeting Canada. He wanted them to be one of the states. it's deeper than that, you know, than what we're dealing with all the other countries. They brought the tariffs down, you know. When they come to Canada, bro, he literally trying to take over. It's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. That's why the tariffs ain't brought down. Trump ain't happy. Mark Carney ain't giving in to them tariffs. Oh, if anything, he gonna try to rise them. You know what I'm saying? He worked with the other countries already. And he tried to do that to probably prove, you know, statistically, hey, like to Mark Carney and to Canada, like, hey, I'm working with the other countries. You can't say that it's not possible to bring these tariffs down. Sure you can. But yet again, that's because tariffs were literally thrown on us, bro. We had tariffs thrown on us from the other countries. But it's deeper than that, bro. He wants Canada. He wants Canada, one of the states, and like he literally trying to like eliminate your border. That's what I'm saying. That's why the tariffs ain't down. He ain't getting on Trump's good side. You're not about to give in like that.
Tariffs down, and Canada still hasn't been able to do the same.
And there are many ways to take that question, because imagine you're the Canadian Prime Minister and you're asked about your country's failure to bring tariffs down. You're probably at the same time wondering, why don't you ask the guy who brought them up in the first place? But Carney's answer is first to de-escalate, accentuate the positive.
If I may, let's be clear about the relationship as it stands right now. We are the second largest trading partner of the United States. We do a lot of trade going across the border where we're cooperating, first thing. Secondly,
and he goes on to make another point about how much Canada invests in the U.S.
He sort of tried to answer without saying much of anything, without making any commitments or anything like that, without criticizing Trump or the U.S. position in these negotiations. What he was clearly doing in this meeting was trying to get on Trump's good side and stay there.
But after de-escalation, Carney makes an attempt to disarm. Not the reporter, but Trump himself.
Thirdly, there are areas, as the president just said, where conflict, maybe not so much conflict, we compete.
What he's referring to
when he did that
there is the precisely 6 times up until that moment that Trump framed the Canada-U.S. trade relationship as a conflict.
We have some natural conflict, but we'll probably work that out. Natural conflict. We also have mutual love. We have a natural conflict. It's a natural business conflict. Nothing wrong with it. It's a very natural conflict. Americans don't want to buy cars that are made in Canada, you know? I mean, we have the same conflict.
You win or you lose. And he sees Canada as a natural conflict, and that, you know, the American economy is in conflict with the Canadian economy because they want the same things, right? They want auto jobs, they want steel jobs. And Donald Trump campaigned on rebuilding these kinds of industries.
Then Carney frames the relationship in a slightly different way, one that he surely understands Trump will relate to.
Conflict, maybe not so much conflict, we compete.
And you know how many times Trump uses the word conflict from that point on for the rest of the news conference? 0. Instead, leaning on this other, perhaps more intuitive language.
And Canada is very competitive. I can tell you that. Canada is a very competitive country. Competitiveness. She's a very competitive person.
Mark Carney did what Canada has been trying to do for so long, is offer a gentle course correction to try and maybe present the Canadian view that says, okay, maybe not conflict, but competition, and try to make the overall case that Canada is better and the United States is better when they work together.
From this point on in the meeting, there's very little else Carney says at all. But I'll point out 2 more things. Something he did say and something he didn't.
Well, we're going to have tariffs between Canada and, you know, they have them with us. I will say with our farmers, as you know, they went up to as much as 400%.
So right here, Trump is talking about Canada's tariffs on U.S. dairy, a long-standing trade irritant between the 2 countries.
They're charging us over 200% for dairy products, 250%, 270% tariff.
But that doesn't quite tell the whole story, because Canadian companies don't ever actually buy enough dairy to the point where any of those on-paper tariff rates actually kick in. And Carney could point that out, except we see what looks to me anyway like restraint.
400%. 250, 300, and even one at 401. We found one having to do with a very small product, but it was high.
He doesn't really
Oh, he's so mature. That's how I'm like, how he able to do that? Boy, the faces I be making. I'll let you know for sure. Like, I won't say nothing, but I'll be at the cameras like, you know, yeah, give a little hints like, what the, what?
respond at all, does he? You can kind of almost see.
And even one at 401. We found one having to do with a very small product, but it was high.
Even
He doesn't
Trump
really
think it's funny.
respond at all, does he? You can kind of almost see the wheels turning, like he's considering what an interruption on his part might sound like. Or maybe he just zoned out. I guess I have no real way of knowing. But it seems to me like he's made a choice here.
It's a delicate dance because Donald Trump is the host. Donald Trump is unpredictable, and you don't go into someone's home and start lecturing them. That's not going to get you very far with Donald Trump. I don't think that's going to get you very far with any world leader.
And of course, Carney will have carefully considered what can happen absent this kind of discipline.
What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr.
are
President,
not
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media.
So I think Mr. Carney decided, you know what, we will hash out the terms of these deals in private. It's not in my best interest to go after the president with the cameras rolling.
Effectively, there is a time and place for disagreement.
Hey, and that's just saving Trump for real from the humiliation. Facts. He's so humble.
The one moment we see that from Mark Carney is when it comes to disputing Trump's OG rationale for imposing tariffs on Canada at all.
Is the fentanyl crisis over with Canada, with the Canadian border?
Is what?
The fentanyl crisis.
No, it's not over. It's never. I think it's never going to be over.
Why would you ask that if the tariffs was... I'm getting tired of these reporters.
Over, frankly.
So we've gotten it down.
No, it's not over. It's never. I think it's never going to be over, frankly.
So we've gotten it down. It's down substantially. It's less than 1%, but it's still too much. It's too much at home in Canada.
A lot of people.
Yeah, we got to stamp it out.
We know Canada represents less than 1% of all fentanyl seized in major busts at the U.S. border. The vast majority of fentanyl is coming from Mexico. But the interesting thing is that Carney said, we hear you. You're concerned about this.
I think Canada, let me put it this way, I can tell you this because I deal with lots of leaders all over the world. He is a world-class leader. He's a man that knows what he wants, and I'm not surprised to see that he won the election and won it substantially, and I would think he's more popular now. He's a good man. He does a great job, and he's a tough negotiator.
So here's where I think this all lands. If you measure success in a meeting like this by measuring substance or even strength, you might see this as Carney's failure.
Now those Elmos have come down, the American tariffs have doubled, we have by far the weakest economy in the G7.
But if you measure success by survival, or even the extent to which the relationship can be smoothed out, then maybe you walk away with a different take.
So then what's holding things up? If he's a great man and you want to do a deal with Canada, why aren't you?
Because I want to be a great man, too. Thank you very much.
Trump, hey, that right there pretty much let us all know that Trump will never give in. He still thinks and feels how he feels about Canada. Maybe he hasn't been making those crazy statements. But, well, that's because it's never going to happen, and Carney is literally pulling away. You know, the relationship and certain trading aspects, when it comes to deals and just anything, they have been pulling away. Even Canadians, like those last words right there let you know, man, I ain't never giving in. I want Canada. I want to be a great man, you know, because he goes by, it's like he wants to be praised for his accomplishments, you know? Things that he have done for other countries or wars that he has stopped that, you know, potentially would never end. I don't know. Because, you know, eventually wars do end. So I don't give a damn, excuse my language, what war we talking about? wars eventually do stop. A lot of false statements. You can't take them serious, you know. At this point, it is what it is. Should you give your hopes up? Nah, I don't want to say fully. Because there's still hope, and I got a lot of faith in this relationship. And maybe, I don't know if he'll ever come to his clear senses, but maybe when we get somebody else in office, a lot of Americans are realizing who he really is, and a lot of them are moving out. We got people taking off their car bumper tags that say, Trump, make America great again, pulling them stickers off and stuff, taking their flags down at home and this and that. Now they regret it. And it's like, well, that's on you as well. So we'll see, I guess, the next person that comes in, whoever wins the election, and let's see what they can do. And maybe they were like, maybe they'll be like, look, I got to meet with Mark Carney real quick. We gotta hash out the past issues and start something new, and they might fully hear him out and be like, okay, but Carney's not a man to take over and take control, take advantage. So they would hash out something even. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me today to react to, has Mark Carney cracked the Trump playbook? I think so. And once he did that, I feel like Canada has witnessed nothing but prosperity towards the country. You guys are growing tremendously now, like facts. Versus before, that GDP and everything gonna be up in no time. Don't worry about it. That military gonna be stronger. You guys gonna be equipped with everything. The economy is gonna be better. People are gonna have jobs. People are gonna have housing. A lot of good opportunities out there. A lot of projects, a lot of things Carney is working on behind the scenes. But of course, we all know about it because it's on the tube. I love it. I love YouTube. You can learn so much. Oh my goodness. Please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications on, share this video on channel to your friends and family members. Share your honest thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. Feel free to recommend some more videos. Follow my Twitch and subscribe to all my other YouTube channels down below in the description. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you, all my new supporters, joining me today. And I love you all, and I hope you all stay safe